So today is Thursday and I'm just going to do a little garden tutorial. I did some work today in the garden. I got out and I removed some of these tomatoes here. I don't know if you can see, they were really overgrowing. And I took some of them down and I gave whatever was left to the chickens. And let's see, let me turn the camera around. I planted some Brussels sprouts here, which will be very nice for the winter, and hopefully they don't get eaten by some creatures. I have some butterhead lettuce growing there. Put these gates up here because my dog, I love her dearly, but boy, she loves to dig. So she's only allowed to dig in this tire. Her bones, her toys, everything. Maybe this tire too, because she just loves to dig and I can't stop her from digging, and I'm not going to get rid of her, so we have to modify. Lesson learned here. This rabbit wire did not work out as I expected, so I will have to go with cattle panel next. I just want to show how big these sunflowers are. If you can see me next to the sunflower and look at it all the way up there. And these are actually growing out of a box, these boxes that I built. So these boxes here, I built them, and this sunflower is just huge. So let me turn the camera around so we can see what's new here. This is some cabbages that I planted, and I planted more Brussels sprouts over here. I had to amend a lot of this soil. It was very hard, even though I have the wood chips in here, so I had to bring from my compost pile in, and I really worked the soil good, and it was quite a challenge. So soil is still a big thing with me. I'm gonna have to really concentrate on the soil. Let's see how this grows. I didn't really baby this soil as much as I did the last batch, which was all squash, which is a very heavy feeder. So these cabbages. So let's go check out what was done today. Other than pruning and pulling things out of the garden, I really did bring more compost over into where I planted a lot of the brassicas over there. But I'm going to turn the camera around here and show that I planted some artichokes here. And this is a ginger plant. It was the root of the ginger, you know, the kind you buy in the store for your teas or whatever you make with it. I pulled the root apart and I cut it in half, and it had a little root coming out, and there it grew. This is kale. I'm not much of a kale lover, but I guess I'll have to find some recipe for it. And of course, you know, the sweet potato still going. The winter garden isn't exciting as a summer garden because, you know, the corn and the sunflowers and all that are really something that I love. But I'm going to see what I can do. I can probably put more sunflowers all back there. This is California. You know, you can pretty much plant anything all year long. And of course, all of these beautiful flowers. So I did move my meat birds today. They have about 4 weeks left, maybe. I moved them into their own pen. So at this point, halfway through their life, I'm really going to fatten them up with lots of greens, grub worms, mealworms, and a lot of organic material that I'm going to be feeding these birds, because these are the last 4 weeks of their life, are the critical part. So let me turn the camera around, and you can see they have plenty of space here. These are these little white guys and gals here. We really can't tell if they're guys or gals yet. And there is some grass here and there. During the day when I'm home and I put the dog in the house, I will let them graze on the grass over here as long as it's not too hot. And they're not real heat tolerant. You know, I feel bad because they're panting. It is warm out here. But when these birds are done and they're processed, I'm going to be ordering another 25. So I always keep this pin here for our meal. Let's go take a look at Cluckingham Palace. Let's see what occurred here today. There was lots of yard waste that I came and gave to the chickens. Anything that I took down from the yard, I came back and gave it to them. So let's go check it out. Here we are. Pita, you need to move. The dog is always trying to get in here. And why, hello, gals. And Guy, can't forget about Lloyd. Well, this pile here was huge today, and they have just really torn it down. Good birds. When this all breaks down to organic material, it will go back into the compost, which will go back in the garden. Here's the baby pen. Let's see, this is a small buff orphan, and she's a teenager. These are some black astrolorps here. I'm gonna change that water. And it looks like they've all just kind of decided to live together. Even Buffy has made herself at home here in the playpen. Buff, that's really not where you're supposed to be. And all the other, Well, here I am in Cluckingham Palace, and it looks like I'm going to turn my camera around. My hens have made themselves nice and comfy here in my baby pen. That's not what I intended. Everybody gets along. Nobody goes after each other and pecks at each other, so that's a good thing. But some of these big fat henny pennies are in here eating my baby's food. So let me chase them out. Come on. Everybody out. Unless you are of kinder age, you are not supposed to be in here. All these hens out. Americanas, Buff Orpingtons, Rhode Island Reds. Out. Come on. No. I don't know what this one is. It's mixed with something. It was somebody from Norco. I picked up these chickens. And then, of course, we have our guineas, which are very interesting looking. I'm going to try some guinea fowl, see how it tastes. And let's see. Let's get them all in there. Everybody round up. Come on. Round up, round up. Goldie, you're not supposed to be in there. The Buff Orpingtons are in there, of course. They're just like Buffy. They're master. So here's my little workstation here. I brought this old dining room table we used to have. And I started some seedlings that I had here. And hopefully these are not going too bad. There's some lettuce there. Yeah, they'll be going good. Hopefully this will work out good for me. This is my chair. This was my grandfather's chair. My cousin Tim made it for him when he was in high school, and I always stayed with it. He used to sit on the porch at 1910 Chapala Street, and he used to watch everybody go up and down the street. I sure miss my grandfather. He was a very wise man. I learned a lot from him.